Hi, I'm Monse, and in this video I'll be talking about the history of English and how the language and culture are linked and how it impacts in Mexico. Let's begin with some history of England. English history started when three tribes from Germany invaded England. These tribes were the Angles, Saxons, and the Jutes. Before the invasion happened, most of the Britain people spoke Celtic. Then, when the invasion happened, Celtic speakers were pushed north. The next invasion of Britain came from the Vikings, another Germanic tribe. The Vikings were well known for their shipbuilding. They spoke Old Norse, a language related to Old English. The Vikings added borrowings from Old Norse into the mix. It also exists words used in modern English that are Viking words, for example, peaceful or ransack. In 1066, Britain was invaded by the Norman conquest. They were French-speaking people. French became the language of the royal court, but some people of Britain still spoke Old English. Old English took many words from the Norman French. As the time passed, Norman no longer spoke true French. It became a mix of French and as Middle English was coming to its end, a sudden English was starting known as Modern English, or as the Great Vowel Shift, as a result of which long vowel sounds began to be made higher and further forward in the mouth. The irony is of classical learning that many words and phrases entered the language. The invention of printing meant that there was now a common language. Printing also brought standardizations to English. In 1604, the first dictionary was published. The difference between early modern English and late modern English is vocabulary. Late modern English has many more words, arising from two factors, the Industrial Revolution and the British Empire. The English language adopted foreign words from many countries. The Proto-Indo-European includes almost all language historically spoken. In Europe, parts of Southern and Western Asia, there might be a link between Indo-European and other major languages families. Indo-European is believed to be the ancestor of most European languages, including the languages that became Ancient German and Ancient Latin. Now, let's talk about the link between language and culture. Language can be defined as a system of communication comprising code and symbols which are used by humans to store, retrieve organized, structure, and communicate knowledge and experience. Culture is a set of beliefs, values, norms, customs, traditions, and a way of life that differentiates one group of people from another. Language and culture are closely related. Language can be viewed as a verbal expression of culture. It is used to convey culture and cultural ties. Language provides us with many of the categories we use for expression of our thoughts, so it is therefore natural to assume that our thinking is influenced by the language which we use. The values and customs in the country we grow up in shape the way in which we think to a certain extent. Culture enriches language, affecting dialect, grammar, and literature, to name a few. As more and more people mingle, the world is literally becoming one. As a result, different language from the perspective culture help to understand and appreciate the evolution of the world and its people as it is today. For when man started out, language was solely meant to be the means that bridged the gap between him and his fellow men. Mexican culture is unique and different from other countries. In the way we dress, how we celebrate our traditions, traditional food, in the way we speak generally to people, among other things. But the language and culture of other countries have a great influence. Movies, series, books, sports, fashion, among other things, are culture that are not ours, and we assume that it's Mexican culture. Finally, knowing about other culture is fascinating. and it has an advantage. But also, it is not good to assume traditions that are not of our country because there can be confusing when teaching students the culture and language of other countries.